right, how's everybody doing? This is Evan Karowski here, and welcome to the 2017 NCAA Basketball Tournament. And today we are going to be picking our NCAA 64 team bracket with TournaKit. TournaKit runs on QlikView. It's a tournament bracketing program, and we'll show you how easy it is to punch in those bracket choices, share them with all your friends, enter scores, all kinds of things like that. So let's get started. Fan, we're gonna go out and progress through the first round. We've got 64 teams. That means we've got 32 games to punch in. We're going to be capturing the scores today. We have an option here where I can turn off score capturing, but we're going to go in and read through the bracket and our teams and track our favorites. So first thing we're going to do is start up on the Eastern bracket, and we have our first two teams up in the top left. We have Villanova versus Mount St. Mary's, and I'm going to go over here to the score window and enter 76 to 56 Villanova. And when I click on the team's logo, Villanova advances to the next round, and you see a status window here that'll temporarily show you the score and then fade out. Next game, so that brings us to Wisconsin defeated Virginia Tech 84 to 74. Wisconsin, the big W, moving on. And we have number 5 Virginia defeated UNCW. The Seahawks, disappointing because I know a lot of people that hail from that part of North Carolina, but Virginia takes it, and they move on. We have got Florida Gators defeat East Tennessee State by a score of 80 to 65. So the Gators are moving on. We have USC defeats SMU by a score of 66 to 65, a 1-point game. Wow, that's pretty tight. But USC takes it, and they move on. Okay, Baylor, 91 to 73. They defeat New Mexico State. So New Mexico is not moving on into the second round. South Carolina defeats Marquette by a score of 93 to 73. And South Carolina is moving on. And I want to point out, we're capturing these scores. It is March 26th. So we have actually made our way all the way to the Final Four. The Final Four games resolved just a short while ago. But we're going to be filling in all the scores to bring us up to the present, where we can track that last bit of excitement that's going to be coming up this weekend. Okay. So we're at the Duke and Troy game, and Duke takes it 87 to 65, and they defeat Troy. Troy has fallen, and that will complete the Eastern Division. And we start over here. We have our 16 teams for the Western Division. The first game for that is number 1 seeded Gonzaga against South Dakota State. They dispatched of South Dakota State by a score of 66 to 46, and Gonzaga moves on. And let's see, we have Northwestern and Vanderbilt. Northwestern won that game 68 to 66. So this N is moving on. Something about N teams' fortunes in the Western Division is good because Notre Dame defeats Princeton, and they won by a score of 60 to 58. So the intellectual prowess of Princeton is vanquished there, and Notre Dame is moving on. The Mountaineers, West Virginia, number 4 ranked Mountaineers defeat Bucknell by a score of 86-80. West Virginia moving on. And that brings us to Xavier defeats Maryland. Number ranked 11th ranked Xavier beats number 6th ranked Maryland for an upset score of 76-65. AX. Okay, Florida State. The Seminoles moving past FGCU. I don't know what FGC stands for, but it does not stand for second round winner. St. Mary's Cal 85-77. So they beat VCU, and having a Cal is good for moving on. Hey, QlikView joke. Okay, Arizona, number 2 ranked Arizona, scoring 100 points. First time we've seen a 100-point game in the Eastern and Western divisions. They defeat North Dakota pretty handily. Arizona is moving on. And you can see now I've completed 2 divisions of the first round. I'm going to move over to the right side of TournaKit screen and start on the scores from the first round in the Midwest. And that brings us to, I spoke too soon. Kansas defeats UC Davis 100-62. So that's a pretty good margin of victory there. Kansas showing some capability. Michigan State defeats Miami by a score of 78-58. So the Michigan State Spartans are moving on. Trojans. Oh boy, I hope I got that right, man. Yeah, so the Michigan State Spartans are moving on. And let's see here. Iowa State defeats Nevada. And you notice I pronounced Nevada correct. So I don't know like Spartans, but I know Nevada because I watched election coverage this year. And Iowa State wins 84-73. And they're moving on. Purdue, manufacturers of some of the world's finest rotisserie merchandise, is advancing because they defeated Vermont 80-70. Number 6 Creighton lost to Rhode Island by a score of 84-72. So Rhode Island, who has probably mustered every resident of the state to fulfill their basketball team because it's a very tiny state, basketball needing a minimum of 5 players, but they pulled it together. I mean, somehow they did. Oregon versus Iona. Oregon wins that contest 93-77, and the Mighty Ducks are moving on. Michigan defeats Oklahoma State by 1 point, 92-91. 92-91. Let's see here. I'm going to find Michigan. The Wolverines move on. I see I entered an equal sign when I was entering the Oregon-Iona score. And, you know, the part about this, I can put text in here. It doesn't have to be perfect scores like numbers. It can be text, you know, things like that. But I'm going to enter that again, and I'll go 93-77. 93-77. And I'm going to hit it again, and it'll re-enter the score. So if I make an error or I need to do a correction, just go down, type the score a second time, click again. Let's say that game result was different. Let's say Iona actually won. Like I can click it here, and it'll automatically put Iona into the second round slot. But what really happened was, Oregon defeated Iona 93-77. So I'm going to put Oregon into the second round. All right, so finishing up the Midwest, we have Louisville defeating Jacksonville State by a score of 78-63, and that Cardinal, it looks like the St. Louis Cardinal will move on. So Louisville is moving on to the second round. And that finishes up the Midwest division. We are now down to the South. Let's see here. North Carolina. Nice. North Carolina 103-64. Number 1 ranked North Carolina just handily dispatching number 16 Texas Southern, and they are moving on. I won't tell you what happens later, but that's good news. Arkansas defeats Seton Hall 71-77. Seton Hall, a very basketball devout school in New Jersey, but they will have to wait another year to achieve NCAA mastery. Middle Tennessee against Minnesota. Middle Tennessee winning by a score of 81-72. 81-72, and Middle Tennessee takes that one. They're moving on. The next game is Butler versus Winthrop, and Butler takes that one. 76-64, and the Bulldogs are moving through. Cincinnati versus Kansas State. Cincinnati wins that one 75-61. So the Cincinnati Claw moves on. And we have 3 games left in the Southern Division. UCLA defeating Kent State by a score of 97-80. And UCLA moves on. Wichita State and Dayton. Number 10 ranked Wichita State defeats Dayton by a score of 64-58. And Wichita State moves up. And the last game we are recording for the first round, rounds were played on March 16th and 17th, is Kentucky. Kentucky beats Northern Kentucky in a contest of intra-Kentuckian dominance, but number 2 ranked Kentucky takes it from Northern Kentucky 70-79. But the good thing about that for the people of Kentucky is that they definitely were guaranteed somebody, in the game. Although it might have been better if they had not played each other, and then they might have had the chance of 2 Kentuckys, making it deeper into the tournament. But anyway, what you can see here is now we have completed the entire first round of 32 games played, and we're set up to move results of second round matches into the Sweet 16. So let's keep going. Sweet 16 matches were, second round matches were played March 18th and 19th, and that brings us back to the Eastern Division. We have number 1 ranked Villanova against number 8 ranked Wisconsin, but the underdog takes this, Wisconsin winning 65-62. So Wisconsin moving on ahead of Villanova. And we have Virginia against Florida. Florida wins this contest 65-39. Ouch. That's by far the lowest score we've seen in the tournament, and I think we will see in the tournament. I don't know whether defense of Florida was just stifling or Virginia did not have anything going for them that game, but 39 points is all they managed to put up. They'll have to look back on that one at the autopsy. But let's not dwell on that, right? So number 3, Baylor against USC. Baylor takes that 82-78. Baylor moving on. And that brings us to South Carolina and Duke. Duke does not take it. South Carolina moves on 88-81. And the Carolinas are representing here. Though Duke comes out, they also were Carolinian, but they still have some dogs in the game. Gonzaga versus Northwestern. Gonzaga taking it 79-73. And the N of Northwestern is no longer there. I mean, I love that N, but it's not. Notre Dame loses to West Virginia 83-71. West Virginia takes it. Mountaineers. Yes. All right. Xavier beats Florida State. Number 11 Xavier defeats number 3 ranked Florida State. Quite an upset there. 91-66. X. That's going to leave a mark. Oh, I did it again with the equal sign. 91-66. Boom. There we go. Okay, St. Mary's Cal. We no longer have a fully named Cal. Arizona takes it from St. Mary's, number 2 ranked Arizona, 69-60. And Arizona's moving on. And we will move on over to the Midwestern Division for the second round. That brings us to Kansas defeating Michigan State 90-70. And Kansas moves on. And we have Iowa State and Purdue. And chicken is for dinner. 80-76. Number 4 ranked Purdue moving on. 80-76. Is that Purdue? Let me see here. Yes. Okay. Rhode Island does not take it from the Mighty Ducks. Oregon wins their second round match 75-72. The Ducks are moving on. Michigan Wolverines beating Louisville. Setting up a Ducks Wolverines match. So 73-69 the score of the Michigan Louisville game. Wolverines are moving on. And let's see here. We're North Carolina. We're down in the South Division. So we've got our Sweet 16 for the Midwestern Division. Moving on to the South. South Carolina takes it from Arkansas, 72-65. I'm sorry, North Carolina. If I just said South Carolina. North Carolina takes it from Arkansas, 72-65. Butler defeats Middle Tennessee, 74-65. So the Bulldogs move on. UCLA takes it from Cincinnati, and a score of 79-67. UCLA advancing to the Sweet 16. The last Sweet 16 match we have to record here is Kentucky defeating Wichita State by a score of 65-62. Wichita State ending here in the second round. Kentucky moves on. And that's the Sweet 16, folks. Yes. To see what happens in this Elite Eight. It's going to be exciting. But we already know these results. These games were played, March 25th and 26th. And, some of these games just resolved like earlier tonight. I probably should have, been checking in to see what's going on. So let's take a look at what happened. Well, Wisconsin and Florida. Florida takes this by a score of 84-83. 1-point game. Must have been exciting. I was probably programming. All right, so Florida's moving on. And number 3 Baylor falls to South Carolina by a score of 70-50. So South Carolina's still in. And that will cover the East in the Sweet 16. And moving down to the Western Division, we have 2 games to report here. Number 1 ranked Gonzaga defeats West Virginia. The Mountaineers' ride and journey ends here. They lose 61-58, and Gonzaga moves on to the Elite Eight. We have Xavier and Arizona. Xavier takes this one, another tight game, score of 71-73. Number 2 Arizona falling to I guess a very low ranked Cinderella Xavier. Um, so they're doing pretty good. They make it to the Elite Eight. And that brings us to the right side of our bracket where we're going to fill in the Midwest. How does Kansas fare against Purdue? Chicken. It's not for dinner. Okay. 98-66. Kansas moving on. Well, Oregon is going to have something to say about that. They defeat Rhode Island. Wait, I'm sorry. Where's the Oregon-Michigan game? Oregon defeats Michigan 69-68. 1-point game. Wow. 69-68. And the Mighty Ducks defeat Michigan. So it's like bird dominance, I mean, in ornithological sense, the birds are really doing it. Let's move on to the South here and see if there's any drama. North Carolina defeats Butler, first seed versus number 4 seed. North Carolina wins that game 92-80, and North Carolina moves on. And we have UCLA against Kentucky, and Kentucky moves on as well, defeating UCLA 86-75. And I'm happy about that because my background in this year, for the 2017 tournament has, University of Kentucky Stadium. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to have to change that. I mean, maybe I know this already, but that's it, folks. That's our Elite Eight. And now we can fill in the Final Four, I believe, because these games just resolved. Literally a few hours ago. It's right now 9 p.m. EST, and I think the Southern Division North Carolina Kentucky game finished up just a short while ago. So let's go there first. North Carolina is in the Final Four. They defeat Kentucky 75-73. And that's the end of the UK. I will need a new background for this next year, folks, or maybe this year. But North Carolina's in the Final Four. Moving over to the Northern Division, the Eastern Division. And we've got Florida against South Carolina. And South Carolina takes it 77-70. Interesting. Okay, moving to the Western Division, number 1 ranked Gonzaga holds on for number 1 ranked team. In the second, I believe we have a few number 1 ranks making it through. They win 83-59, handily winning their Elite 8 match. So Gonzaga is in the Final Four. And the last game is the Midwest, the Mighty Ducks. 74-60, they defeat Kansas Jayhawks. And the Ducks are moving on. So this brings us up to the present. It looks like the Final Four matches are set to play on CBS on April 1st. It'll be South Carolina against Gonzaga at 6:09 p.m. EST. And then on April 1st at 9 p.m. EST, you have Oregon against North Carolina. And they're meeting 2 days later on April 3rd for the championship. So the cool thing about TournaKit at this point is I can, save my progress. And we'll do that. We're gonna save our progress, and then we can go and, like the amazing Kreskin, I can prognosticate who's going to win this Final Four. And folks, it's gonna be a South Carolina versus North Carolina championship for Battle of the Carolinas, and then UNC is gonna take it. Yes, because we have QlikView offices there in Cary, and North Carolina is just awesome. But I mean, it's a Carolina thing anyway. Somebody from Carolina is going to win. But If, let's say, the results turn out to be different, I can always go back, reloading and restoring, take myself to the point where, we're in the present here and those games haven't been played. Look at that. I can start over. I can say it's going to be a Gonzaga, Oregon, championship, and Gonzaga takes it. What I can do is I can hit the clear button and reset and erase the entire bracket, and say I want to start over and I want my friends to do it, and the whole gang is going to pick their bracket and save it independently. But I can always go back to the point that I was in entering the scores, and just by reloading and restoring from my save point. So that's it for the NCAA 2017 tournament, folks. I hope you enjoyed seeing TournaKit. I'm just going to show you a few more items, as we leave the basketball. You can use TournaKit for other sports, so we prepared a sample of baseball. We've got a Major League Baseball option here, and I'm going to bring that up and show you what that looks like. So spring training, getting underway right now, but when these teams start to play later on this year, maybe I can move my favorite teams through the rankings, see who's going out. Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees, Red Sox, they're going to win. Well, I can switch back and forth and follow this, as I like. I can, enter score games. You can find out who's making it to the World Series. We can change the advancement options to tracking like best out of 3, best out of 7. There's a lot of flexibility that we can build into this. And it doesn't just have to be for sports. I can show you one last example here, and that is meme battles. And what you're going to see here is a battle of the memes. What's your favorite meme? You want to have people vote on what meme they like. Well, it looks like I've already played this game, so I'm going to clear and reset. And what we'll do here is we'll start picking our winners. We are going to have Bella Landau as Bela Lugosi. Yeah, so Martin Landau as Bela Lugosi. He advances over King Leonidas. We have Benny Gesserit from Dune. We have an angry Starbucks chick. We have the QlikView cop. QlikView cop's definitely going to win. A guy from the Road Warrior, Agent Smith. Snickers versus Star Trooper. Snickers. Snickers is going to win. A guy wearing sandals. The Trojan Horse versus Troll Meme. Two girls from a video. Let's see here. More people from the same video. Let's see. Voldemort. Voldemort again. Web Meme. Wookie Cat. And Steve Carell as The Office. We have a duck or a risk playing board. We'll go with a duck. A couple pictures here. I'm not even sure what these are. I'm not sure how competitive they'll be. A cat pushing a watermelon. We have Angry Cat. We have the Magical Sitar from Moulin Rouge. Mel Gibson in The Road Warrior. And Angry, a villain from The Road Warrior. The explosion of Alderaan. We have Ayn Rand. Alderaan and Ayn Rand. We have a dual sword wielding armored Cloud Sun. Alright, he might advance next round. Darth Vader. And we have Samurai Cat. General Gothmog, and the Immortals. And you see here as things advance in QlikView in TournaKit, I don't even have to resolve each match. We can have these items kind of advance along independently without having the paired match fulfilled. And I can switch results. You can like change the results of the winner here. So I'm moving out, and Angry Cat turns out to win if it was like a result of the last match, and it's a best of series. So of course I can change the results here if there was a mistake. So let's say ClickForce is gonna win. They're moving out, and now QlikView is making its way to the championship. And we'll fill out some of these. Maybe people drop out. Maybe you have replacements in the tournament that happen in later rounds. But this is TournaKit, ladies and gentlemen, 2017. We've been tracking the NCAA tournament for several years now, and having a lot of fun with this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you at the Final Four. We'll come back with an update in a few days.